Hello, Korean student athletes. Welcome to Korean Sports and Olympic Committee Sports Nutrition Lesson. My name is 앨리슨마우어. I'm the Director of Sports Nutrition and Fueling for the Pittsburgh Pirates Major League Baseball team. Thank you for having me today to share some of my knowledge and experiences working in sports nutrition and especially working in baseball. I hope you all enjoy. Thank you. People are usually curious about what Major League Baseball players eat. And back in the older days, I guess older days, even 5-10 years ago, things have changed drastically in regards to nutrition and fueling for baseball players. But it used to be a matter of, hot dogs and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for pregame meal, and things have definitely changed. And so for our players, we have a chef at each minor league team, at each affiliate. And so the players are getting really, really good fueling options at each place. And so these are just a few pictures, examples of, actually some of the pictures are from our taxi squad. So this year we had essentially one minor league team in addition to the major league team. And so a couple of these are pictures of what they were eating at the minor league level. And so, things that we really focus on for pregame is just a really balanced plate. Like, are we getting good carbohydrates, good source of protein, lots of colors, fruits and vegetables, that sort of thing. We want it to be really nutrient dense. So pack lots of vitamins and minerals and just good quality calories into those meals. And a lot of times for pregame, players don't want to feel heavy. So they'll eat lighter, and that's okay. If you're a catcher, the last thing you want to do is be catching with a full belly, sitting in that squat position for an extended period of time. And our center fielders, second basemen, shortstops, they want to be quick and fast and light, and so that's why they choose to eat that way as well. And again, just, years past, it's funny to hear some of the older players talk about their minor league steak, and that was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's what they would get, and they would say, oh, a minor league steak. And so things have definitely changed over the course of time. One thing that has become really popular over the last year to 2 years is plant-based eating. And so there was a documentary that came out called Game Changers, where some elite athletes went plant-based as far as their eating and had improved performance and that sort of thing. And so we've had a lot of players get really interested in eating strictly plant-based diets. So these are just a few pictures of some of the foods that we've had, which one of our chefs is amazing at his vegan cooking. And so one is a vegan chili, there's tofu bowl, a stuffed chili. So my take on plant-based fueling is that it can be a good option from time to time. There is not a lot of really good, solid research that says plant-based eating for elite athletes is good for the long term. We've had some guys who, like I said, have done it, and they've modified it, which has been really, really great. So it's not ideal for maintaining optimal lean mass over the course of a long season. Baseball is long. There's a lot, every day is a grind. And so not getting some sort of animal source of protein could potentially really have a negative effect on lean mass if that is something that is continued over a long period of time. So the hybrid model that some players have adjusted to is to do plant-based for the first part of the day. And then once post-game meal happens and is served, then they'll do their animal proteins at that time. And again, it can make them feel lighter, not as full and that sort of thing, going plant-based earlier in the day, and then at night after the game, it's more, they're relaxing, they can indulge a little bit more. So it can work, but I do think it needs to be modified. Some of the benefits, you are getting a super high nutritional value from a lot more fruits and vegetables and whole grains, more fiber, and a lot of really good benefits. So So it can be good, but like I said, over the course of a long season, it can be really, really difficult to maintain your lean mass, your body weight, and that sort of thing. So here is more food, right? We eat a lot in baseball. And these are some examples of our post-game meals. This is at the major league level. We are not doing lobster tails and fillets at the minor league level. There definitely is not as much focus on budget for the major league players, and there is for our minor league teams, and so which is understandable. But for the post-game meal, it's usually heavier. So an example here, we have some lamb chops. Like I said, there's the lobster and fillet. There's roasted chicken. It is more upscale dining just because, it's the end of the game. Just kind of relax, enjoy your food. But it's still really nutrient dense and really good food. You can see lots of colors on the plate. We're still trying to make sure that we're getting good nutritional value out of the food that they are putting in after the game as well as before the game. Okay, so let's take a total 180. Let's go the complete opposite direction of what we've just been talking about. So people are curious probably, what foods do the fans eat at PNC Park? And so here are some examples. Obviously the fans are not eating what the players eat, but they do enjoy it, right? And so there's wings, ice cream. The picture of the sandwich is one of the Primanti brothers. It's a very popular local place up there in Pittsburgh that everybody has to try when they go. And there's French fries on the sandwiches. They're really, really good. And then the French fries at the top there, those are also really, really good. I have tried a few things at the concession stand. The one thing that's very interesting here in the middle is a waffle cone, and it has sausage, cheese, and pierogies on the inside, which is sometimes there's just really interesting foods that are created just for the sake of being interesting and different. So, and a pierogi is basically a dough wrapped around a potato. So lots of carbs there. Our fans definitely can carb load if they want. Let's talk about some basic nutrition strategies for baseball. So some of the main goals before the game, like I mentioned before, the players don't want to feel heavy. They like to play light. So our pregame meal is 2 hours before the game. We focus on a balance of carbohydrates, lean proteins, and vegetables. So the picture to the left there is zucchini noodles or spaghetti squash noodles with meatball or turkey meatballs. So that is a really, and it's not a huge portion. And so again, it's something that the players can have. It's light, but it's just filling enough to where it can carry them over through the game. And then obviously we focus on hydration. That's always going to be important to us. Just making sure that we are staying well hydrated to prevent cramping, fatigue, loss of concentration, that sort of thing. And then after the game, the main goals obviously continue with hydration. We want to refuel for the next day, and we focus more on carbohydrates and maybe a little less on protein than pregame. But everything is individual. So this could be the focus that's more on carbs and less on protein might be for a starting pitcher or the catcher, because they're utilizing a lot more carbohydrates as a fuel source than what maybe a first baseman or a third baseman is. And so it's not necessarily going to be the same for every player, and it's not going to be the same every day. So a starting pitcher on his start day, his fueling strategy is going to look different than the day after his start. And so it's nutrition. That's one of the amazing things about it, is you really have to strategize for yourself and for you, as based on what your specific needs are. So it's pretty fun, and also it could be very complicated. Now that you know how the players eat, what some of their strategies are, you might assume, wow, they're all doing a really great job. They all have the resources, they all eat really well, and they take care of their bodies. But as we all know, not everyone buys in right away. And so here's an example of a player, an infielder, and this is over the course of a few years. So when I first met him, he was really resistant to eating really a variety of foods. There was really no vegetables in his diet. He would eat fruit sometimes. And his mentality was, what I eat does not matter. I can eat whatever I want and I won't gain weight or get fat. It was also very much like, I always ate like this in college and I was fine. And so that mentality is hard to break sometimes. And so he would bring his own fast food to eat, skip post-game meal to get fast food after games, that sort of thing. And again, this is while he was in the minor leagues. He wasn't really that concerned about hydration. He would drink juices, sports drinks. And sometimes he would have coffee in the morning and not have any water or anything until 1 o'clock when he got to the clubhouse. And so that is definitely not something that we want to see happen. And so he would have chronic soft tissue injuries, and they would go away and then they would come back and then go away. And so he ended up in the major leagues, which is fabulous. And then he started to notice what the veteran players were eating, how they were taking care of their bodies, and that light bulb went off. And he wasn't sold completely, but he would make some small adjustments. He would add vegetables. He would start drinking more water. And then he also liked the foods at the major league level. And sometimes, with food, you're never going to make everyone happy all the time. But he did like the food at the major league level better, so he was more willing to eat the pre and post game meal in the clubhouse, which was extremely helpful, because when you're going to fast food, you're not ordering the side of vegetables or the salad. But when you're at the clubhouse and you see the vegetables in the pan right in front of you, there's a lot more incentive and less excuse to get them. They're there and they're sitting there waiting for you. So it was a much easier opportunity. And then he ended up having less soft tissue issues, and he felt better overall, and he was able to maintain his weight. And so, it's just one of those situations where sometimes as an athlete, we think that we know what's best for ourselves, and we don't always want to listen to what other people are telling us. But in a huge way, those people are trying to make sure that we're performing our best. And so keep that in mind. When people make suggestions and recommendations, they're not doing it to bother you or to make things difficult for you. They're actually just trying to really help you improve and do the best that you can. So this was a really great example. Great player. Really, really fun story to follow.